Skip it up and that up. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Rich of Review Tech USA, and when there's wood grain and sausage fingers, you know it's time for an unboxing or a review. And today we're going to be reviewing the ExtremeCap U3 from AVerMedia. Now, what's so exciting about this? This is the first, as far as I know, consumer-grade capture card that could capture 1080p at 60 frames per second, supposedly uncompressed, but we'll talk about that later. And one of the other big selling points is that you could actually watch the preview screen on your computer, and because due to USB 3.0, this is a USB 3.0 device, not 2.0, there's virtually no latency. So you don't have to have an extra monitor, you don't have to worry about passing through video. You could actually play right on the preview screen on your computer with no lag almost whatsoever. And that is actually true, I will say that. So let's take a look at the device itself. This is the ExtremeCap U3. It's really straightforward. There's not much to it. There's a status light up in front. On the back here, you have an AV for a breakaway cable. So I don't really think you would need to buy this, but if you wanted to use this on your PlayStation 3 or another, because it supports varying resolutions, you could use it for like a component system, maybe like a PS2 or a GameCube. You're ready to go with this. So that's pretty cool. Maybe if you're going to be doing the next gen consoles and you're going to do some retro stuff, this will be your all-in-one device. Also, too, you notice it has only an HDMI in, no HDMI out. There's no pass-through on this, which I was kind of okay with it when I first unboxed it, but now I'm not too thrilled with that. And here, I'll explain that in my final verdict, why I'm not too thrilled with it. And here you have your USB standard 3.0 connection. It does come with the cable, but the nice thing, because it's not a proprietary connection over here, if you lose it, you can just go to the store and buy a new USB 3.0 cable and you're good to go. So this is the device. It's really straightforward. You have to go to the website, the AVerMedia website, to download the software, and that's it. So now what I'm going to do is show you 3 different games I recorded with the AVerMedia ExtremeCap U3, and then I'll come back and give you my final verdict on the device.
Enemy SATCOM spotted. Enemy care package incoming. Enemy SATCOM spotted. SATCOM ready.
Drop him!
So final verdict time, ladies and gentlemen. Is the AVerMedia ExtremeCap U3 a must-have? And sadly, no, it's not. And I have a few reasons as to why. Now, when I first got the card, reason number one, a lot of you complained, and now I totally agree with you, and thank you for shouting it out, that there was only an HDMI in and no pass-through. You know, I was saying in defense, you could just play right on the preview screen, but there's a bunch of reasons, AVerMedia, that people still want to pass through. Say they only have a laptop, and they have a powerful laptop, but it has a small screen and it's capable of recording 1080p 60 frames per second, but they still want to play in their big screen. Now you have to go through the whole big thing of having an HDMI splitter, extra cables. A lot of the HDMI splitters, if not all of them, require their own power source, and it becomes a big mess. Whereas this just had an HDMI output for a pass-through, it would have resolved all that. So that's a pretty big thumbs down there. The secondly is the Record Central software that this comes with. Now, it's the same software that I use in the Live Gamer Portable, and that's some pretty damn stable software. So it's something that can be fixed and upgraded, but the problem with the software is that I had issues where it locked up with this card. And the funniest thing is, you wouldn't notice it. I was playing Call of Duty War as Gunslinger on the PC. The red light on here was pulsating. I thought I was recording, played about an hour and a half of the game to use for news footage and to use for this review, and it didn't record. You would have never known. There was no lockup. There was no error. When I stopped recording, I went to go look, and the card froze. It would still look like it was recording, and there was no file there to be had. There was like a 512 kilobyte video file that was corrupt. So that happened a few times too. I mean, 75% of the time it worked fine, but that was an issue I had a few times with this card, and it was pretty damn annoying, especially when you think you're recording about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours of footage, and you're not. Not cool. Third thing. Now, supposedly, the video on here is uncompressed. Now, at least when you use Record Central, which is the software they give you with this card, okay, that's the software they're recommending, that's what they give you, so that's what I'm going by. It is compressed. They use MP4, and what I noticed, especially when I was playing Call of Duty Ghosts, now I don't know, I'm going to show you some footage here. Don't know if you're going to be able to see it with YouTube's compression at 30 frames per second, but even with, I had everything maxed out. MP4, 30 megabits per second bit rate. I used 192 kbps audio, which isn't max, but it's more than suitable for making YouTube videos and what have you. Saw a ton of compression, especially with Call of Duty Ghosts. Whenever there was like smoke, you would see a bunch of compression artifacts. I mean, they claim this card to be doing uncompressed video 1080p at 60 frames per second. And from what I saw, even at max settings, it looked heavily compressed. I have to say, arguably, the video coming out of the Live Gamer Portable was actually better looking video at 1080p 30 frames per second, not 60, I have you, but if it's not gorgeous video, which you would expect for a device like this, then what's really the point? And last but not least was recording PC footage with the ExtremeCap U3 now. One of the things that I loved, especially about the Live Gamer Portable, is that it put virtually no stress on my computer. I could record footage, gameplay footage from my PC, and it all looked fantastic. You would never have your frame rate drop. You could play games like Far Cry 3, get 60 frames per second. Yeah, obviously you were only recording at 1080p 30 frames per second. That's all the Live Gamer Portable would capture at. But it was nice that it would never hit your PC, especially if you wanted to use the PC free mode. There would be no stress on your PC because you're recording right to an SD card right on the Live Gamer Portable. Now, this has the compression software that compresses the video right inside of it, but every time I used it, I was noticing frame rate drops. BioShock Infinite, it would be 60 frames, then you would get stuttering, 60 frames, you would get stuttering, same with Far Cry 3 and other games like that. And once again, you buy a device like this because it has the hardware built into it, thinking it'll take a lot of the load off your computer, and this doesn't. Now, I know it's USB 3 and there's more bandwidth, but I was pretty disappointed in that. I was really excited now because I have a pretty powerful rig, Core i7 3770K, a GTX 780. I'm like, great, I can record high-end games at high settings at 60 frames per second. I thought that would be pretty cool, and it does work sometimes, but there's just certain games that when you record this, when you start to capture with this, they just don't get along. And it happened more times than not. And that was pretty disappointing, especially when I've had great luck with other AVerMedia products not hitting my frame rate at all, whereas this does definitely affect your frame rate when you're playing PC games. All in all, this is a pretty good card, but at this point, in its current state, I can't recommend it. If its only flaw was not having an HDMI pass-through or an HDMI output, I could look past that, but with the unstable software, with the heavily compressed looking video, and the unstable frame rate that you get when you're PC gaming, yes, this was the first out of the gate with 1080p 60 frames per second, but it doesn't always mean it's the best device out there. And to be honest with you, most of the websites, if not all of them right now, aren't supporting 1080p 60 frames per second. Hell, most websites, or if not all of them, aren't supporting 720p 60 frames per second. So I would say hold off on this until they update their software, because most of what I said could be fixed with firmware and software updates. And if you're in the market for a capture card, I still would recommend the Live Gamer Portable over this. And right now, this isn't necessary, and it has a lot of kinks that it needs to work out. So I would say right now, good effort on AVerMedia's part, but in its current state, I would say pass on it. Anyway, folks, this is Rich of Review Tech USA. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Have a good one.